I could tell.
Because it smelled.
It smelled, and I heard you coughing like a fucking... just looking at your eyes right now, it's very obvious.
I smoked a lot. Oh yeah, we fucking... One of them opened up. It's a lot closer. It was like a 53-minute drive, and there was no line at all. Like, we still had to take a shuttle to the place, but...
There's still vape cartridges there.
Yeah.
You should have told me you're going. I would have been like,
oh, I'm sorry.
I'll give you some money. I'll PayPal you.
I'll tell you next time.
I'm empty.
I wasn't sure if you were like down to spend, because it's like $65 for a vape pen.
Yeah, but like, I can get it for $40, but that also means I got to drive 8 hours to and back from New York because I know nobody here. So
I'll
like,
let you hit mine once I bust it out.
Yeah, whatever.
Since
I can't be inebriated when I'm playing Neo.
Well, it's pretty hard. Alright, I gotta look at that. We've done like a whole bit already.
At like 2 a.m. I made a comment about Souls games on Twitter, thinking nobody would mind, and all day today I've just been having discussions about it.
People are fucking really way too passionate about Souls. Even I almost responded.
No one's been a dick about it, but...
Only I am on screen somehow.
What?
There we go. We don't have any viewers. Well, maybe like 5.
Who needs viewers?
Point made.
I'm just selling all this shit. Whoa.
Put together
let's see. That is way lighter. And it's better defense, but it looks really stupid. Is that? Soul matching. I don't even know what soul matching does. I can't figure any of this shit out. Like, at least 80% of this game's mechanics I do not understand.
There's just so many of them. Like, you only need to understand like 20%.
There's like a whole upgrading thing for weapons that makes no sense. Every time I try and like, it's like, put the main item, then put an item to modify it, and every time I put an item in to modify it, it either makes it exactly the same or worse. And I'm like, well, I'm clearly doing something wrong here.
Tom, I had a response to your tweet that I almost sent you.
Yeah?
Which, I don't know if this is something you would be capable of, or if you are, then if it would help your experience. But the way I play Souls is, I don't actually look at the amount of souls I have ever. Like, until I go to level up. Because I just know that, like, how well I do is just a matter of how well I do. I'm either going to die or I'm not going to die. I'm either going to die twice or I'm going to make it. But, like, knowledge of how many souls I have is not going to change how well I play. So, there's no sense in thinking about it because, you know, if you don't see it happen... If you're not paying attention to how many souls you have, like, in this game, I can never tell when I am, like, when I have my Guardian Spirit or not, because I don't look at my Amarita, and then I see it's at 0, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure if I'm on my first round or my second round, you know? I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up or if I've already lost it, and I'm at 0. So, like, I just don't even know a lot of the time, and it's because I just don't pay attention to it until I get to a point where I can use it, and then I go, how much do I have? Oh, and usually I have a comforting amount because I've regathered it in the time since whenever I last died. So, like, when I hit the double zeros, I didn't even notice, but then when I finally did get to the shrine, usually that means you did beat a boss or something. So, like, you show up and you've got, like, 13k, and you're like, oh, cool, I can level up, you know? So it's just, like, getting into a different headspace. And I don't know if anyone's ever expressed this about Souls or if other people do this, but I think it's just kind of something that when you play it enough and you just decide to throw yourself into it, you just kind of resign to the loss of souls, especially when you get past the first playthrough. Because, like, my friends used to get really upset when they lost a lot of souls, like the first time they played through Demon Souls and the first time through Dark Souls. But by the time they got to Dark Souls 2, they had run Dark Souls 1 so many times that, like, losing souls meant nothing to them because they were just playing it for the sake of playing it in the long run, you know? which is why everybody played 2, even though it's a dog shit game, because like it was closer to this game almost, like a little bit more like. It was longer and more non-linear, and it allowed for, I guess that's the opposite of this game, but like it just was like Jesse always says that it's like his favorite one to go back and play because you can just kind of, it's long and you can play it very differently each time, and like even if it's not as mechanically satisfying because the animations are dog shit, like if you just are addicted to the gameplay loop of Dark Souls, then that's your game, you know. I think this game occupies a similar role, just in a different way. It's a much more polished version and streamlined. It might not appeal to people who want their game to be open-ended, but it appeals to people who are just like, I want to fucking smack things with a sword and continually get better at it and find new ways to do it.
Someone had responded to me and said that, like, the game's supposed to make you frustrated because that makes it all the more satisfying when you inevitably win.
A lot of people say that.
And to me, my response was just like, that's like saying I broke through this like wall by punching it. It really hurt and was really annoying and it was uncomfortable and not enjoyable. But man, it felt great when I finally broke through the wall with my bloody stump of a fist. I'm like, just get a hammer. You know?
Right.
Get a sledgehammer. Devil May Cry is the sledgehammer.
I totally appreciate that sentiment. I think that the problem with the line of thinking presented by by saying things like that is that I really don't think these games get really that fun until you are just so good at them that like they're not hard anymore.
That is what some this is gonna be great. I can already tell we're gonna have fun here.
Because like. Everybody
just
I know.
In case anybody doesn't know, water is instant death in this game. So, I'm getting fucking steamrolled.
Like, everyone it just so happened that my friend Don-san was like huge into. Oh fuck! I need to just publish this tweet and not worry about getting a picture.
Don't we already have a picture like saved on the desktop?
Well, that would have been the same one as last week.
Does anybody care?
Nobody even cares that there's a picture of the first place. I already tweeted it. I'm gonna retweet it on But anyways,
I've been playing Bloodborne for the last 2 days after the stream, just because I wanted to give it another shot. Compared to even this game, it feels like it's going in slow motion. It's very weird.
Yeah, this game is very fast. That's why, like...
I mean, I still feel like this game moves slow, but
that's the funny thing about it, is, like, everybody had said it moves faster than Dark Souls, and that's why we bought it. Like, that was the premise of...
Right.
Like, oh, this is supposed to be like Dark Souls, but fast. But when I played it, I was just so familiar with playing Dark Souls that, like, it didn't even really register as that different to me, you know?
It's a little faster. I mean, it feels faster if you're playing in light stance because you can do so many moves. But, like, we're playing in high stance mostly, so that's...
Right.
Like, you dodge faster and you can react to things a bit quicker. And, like, there's not as much of a follow-through on most of the moves. Like, I can immediately roll after that swing, whereas if it's in Bloodborne, there's a whole follow-through you gotta kind of commit to. Which actually made Bloodborne kind of hard to get back into because I was trying to play it like this. But, yeah, other than that, this game is much faster, but it's not as fast as, like, a game I would tend to play on my own, I suppose.
Yeah, it's fucking fascinating, the, like, different levels that they have, like, done this at. Because I enjoy games of all of these types, like, you know, I've beaten Devil May Cry and Metal Gear Rising and fucking Bayonetta and, never beat DMC3 because it was too hard.
DMC3 was pretty fun. The ending battle's pretty dope.
But,
when you fucking abandoned Virgil in hell.
I played the original version before they toned down the difficulty or whatever.
I can't remember if I beat that one, but I remember playing a lot of it because I got it at launch, so there was no special edition.
Oh
no.
But yeah,
You can play it back in, bitch.
I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about before.
Well, you're pretty big, so I'm not surprised.
Bloodborne, Neo. It's just been like a fucking constant, you know, fucking barrage of Souls shit. Neo. Because it's like, you started playing this on IM Games, and then I started playing it on my own time, and then you started playing it on your own time, and in the meantime, Vic and Hope are playing the fucking game too. So it's like everywhere I go, Neo is there.
I don't know if Jesse's still playing it, but he was.
Yeah, and it's all by pure fucking coincidence, because like Neo is not necessarily relevant right now. Like, I just thought it was like a recent enough game that hadn't quite been like talked about to death, although there are like long ass analysis videos about it, of course, but like nowhere near the market saturation of Dark Souls. And I feel like this game has enough people who are like still playing it or who are really looking forward to the sequel that like...
Is it a sequel?
They're planning a sequel.
Really?
So like it's not supposed to come out till like I think it was like date to be determined, but they're planning to make a Neo 2. So like, it's done well enough that it's getting a sequel, and like people are still coming back to it, like Victor, who are like hardcore Souls fans who are like, yo, I didn't even beat this game, but I still think it's ill, you know? And so like the fact that Victor has come back to it kind of proves the viability of doing a video about it. But it's still on like a relatively small scale as compared to like other things that we could be doing or doing faster, because this game is long as shit.
Yeah.
And like it's hard to say how much is enough to have played, you know? Like I can make a point with how much we've played. It's not going to be the deepest point. I don't know how many people are going to care, but there are a lot of people who just want to hear more guys talk about Neo, I'm sure, you know?
Yeah. And
like my strategy is going to be not necessarily to say anything that I know to be new, because I haven't watched anybody's content on Neo, so I don't know what the hell's been said about it. But like I just want to make the point concisely that the appeal is different from Dark Souls. That like there is a different like way to play it, and so like maybe most of the people who play the game understand that, but not everybody outside of that demographic does, and maybe they would want something to show to their friends who are Souls fans who haven't played Neo to convince them that they would want to, you know? That's sort of the niche that I'm targeting by selecting this as a game to cover. But I still haven't finished the script for it yet. But we've been playing it consistently anyway. Also, this is completely new to me, and it's fucking... I was tripping balls for a second on these water boys. Like, this is nothing like anything that's been shown in the game. They are literally the phalanx from Dark Souls, though. Like, their animations are almost the same, except that they added in this weird gloopiness that makes them feel very different.
They're like water yokai or some shit is the idea. I mean, we're in the water level.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! They have a ton of HP.
It's really astonishing how, like, the actual, like visual design of this game is, like, bordering on fucking plagiarism of Dark Souls a lot of the time.
I mean, the entire conceit of the game is plagiarizing Dark Souls.
But that's the funny thing about it, is that they built something that is sincerely distinct enough that it like could have its own fan base, but it was just more lucrative to tie it to Dark Souls, you know? Yeah. It's like, we could make it look more distinct, but then people aren't going to assume it's a Dark Souls-like game, and we want that audience. So let's just make it explicitly the same thing as Dark Souls, but give everything an Eastern flair so that people will be like, oh, it's like Eastern Dark Souls. That's cool. But it's like barely in the realm of not being like infringement. Not that Japan has nearly as strident copyright laws as America does. Alright, I'm gonna look at the fucking chat. So Digi, is your main channel dead? No. A trusted flagger got to me on YouTube about fixing my stuff. Hopefully that amounts to something. I meant on Twitter. But yeah, he... I have no idea what those guys actually do, or how effective they are. I know Monkey was always hyping up that one trusted flagger guy. Did you ever have any run-ins with that?
Not personally, but I know people have liked them.
Have you played more Neo, Digi? Not since the last stream. We have Cookie59 says, yo, been playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and it's great.
It's out?
I thought it was only out in Japan. Are you?
I
in
know it got
Japan?
leaked. Didn't it get leaked?
Well, that might be it. He probably is playing the leak. The I Am Games crowd has a lot of you know, tech savvy young men in it.
Yeah, Jesus fuck. Like, I appreciate everybody on Twitter who's like trying to like explore. What?
Wow. That seemed like a lot of damage.
Okay, well at least I'd already spent all my
The
fucking
death has begun.
I'm just like beyond. Like, I'm still internally seething every time it like gaily fucks me. Like it like shoves its big veiny black dick up my ass without any lube. It really bothers me. But it's just you know what was a good thing?
You didn't seem bothered when Munchie was fucking blowing your dick on the PCP.
Look, in real life, I'm really desperate, alright? But this is not
I hope
real
everybody
life.
has seen that episode.
I hope
all
so.
All the way to the end. Because that was
the end is the best part. Oh my god, everything sucks. But no, I was gonna say a good thing was playing Bloodborne before this, because Bloodborne is a worse game in my opinion, so this feels like an upgrade, even if it's just so.
Interesting opinion. I have not... Like, I feel as though Neo is a game that I would almost be sad to consider myself to like it more than a Souls game, because I consider it to be of less artistic merit.
Oh, it absolutely is.
But as a video game, it might potentially be more fun in the long run, because you really can just keep playing it, you know? Like, if that's what you really want from Souls, and like... Because, like, all the narrative elements you experience the first few times you play it, but if you're running the game fucking 100 times, then, like, you're not playing the story every fucking time, you know? Like, you're doing goofy builds and, like, fighting people with shields exclusively. So it's like, if you're reaching that level of meta, and sure, on some level, the goofiness of what you can do is a part of the appeal there, and I don't know if Neo lets you get as fucking goofy as that, but, like... If you just want to run Dark Souls 100 times, like, this game has you covered. And you can do it with way more mechanical depth. Even if there's, like, no substantial narrative.
It said that axe was stronger, but it's not.
I should just clip that audio and make that the video. That would be the quickest way to do it.
Why not? We gotta get on that Kingdom Hearts hype train, right?
I mean, yeah, and honestly, I've been trying to think lately. I'm trying to, because my channel's been taken down, in the interim as I've been waiting for it to come back, I've been, you know, reconsidering my strategies for content. Because I feel as though the most successful creators do not so much ask themselves which things they can fit into their formula. They think, what can I do with the thing? So, for instance, if you are somebody who is like a review channel, your views are extremely dependent on what you're talking about. Like, if the movie itself is popular, you will get more views than if the movie is unpopular, and therefore you are incentivized to only talk about popular things. And I consider that to be unsuccessful, because it means that you personally are less... You're carried less by yourself than you are by the things you talk about, which lends you less longevity. One of the longest running, most successful, most consistent YouTubers to get the most views per video is Donkey. Donkey always gets millions of views, no matter what game he's playing, even if it's mega obscure. Because Donkey does not ask himself, what games can I make a review of? He plays a game, and then he thinks, what can I make with this game? And so if he has like a funny compilation of clips of him playing, he makes that. If he has a good point to make about it analytically, he makes that. And so, like, I think that is a better approach to making stuff on the internet when, like, you know, you're not really there to provide, like, a comprehensive... Like, my channel presents itself like, oh, I'm going to comprehensively analyze every single thing in existence. Well, most stuff is not really worth analyzing. So that doesn't mean I can't address all those things in some manner besides the typical analytical fashion that would remain entertaining while still providing analysis of the stuff that is actually worth talking about, you know? Like what Donkey does. He does both of those two worlds. So, like, I want to find a way to bridge that gap for myself, but, you know, I have a very different sense of humor and style from Donkey, so it won't come out anything like what he does if I try to pursue that. But, like, for instance, I'm good at unscripted ranting and forming crazy connections in my mind all the time. And so, like, I can just take clips from live streams where I said my whole point anyways and upload that, and I'd be able to have, like, maybe 6 or 7 of them per live stream and stagger the releases to be once a week, or once a day, rather, and give them thumbnails and titles that don't indicate it's just a live stream, you know? Because it won't sound like one. There's no difference between a live stream and a vlog. It's just the context, you know? As long as the points I'm making are interesting, people who've been tricked into clicking on the video thinking it would be edited will be intrigued enough to stay to the end because the things being said are interesting. In theory.
So another thing that I'm noticing, and I'm sure you probably can already know because you've played these games a million times. Like right now, I'm not too mad, even if I lost all that fucking Amarita, because, like, I need 10 times now just to gain 1 level.
Right.
But when you start the game and you die, like, I lost 7,000 fucking echoes in Bloodborne last night.
Yeah.
That was, like, 6 levels, because I hadn't leveled it all yet, because I didn't have any insight.
That's the
that was
thing,
infuriating.
That's the fucking thing about,
Because now every time I'm playing the game, I'm like, I could be several levels higher, but I fucked up that one time. But at this point, I'm just like,
I really do think that these games, like, the hardest thing about them is the, like, it's just a learning curve and, like, also an experience curve.
You know
and, like,
what, though? Here's the problem.
2 different regards.
Here's the fucking issue, dude. And maybe you can clarify this for me.
Uh-huh.
How is what we're talking about, and is this just a video game equivalent of, like, oh, you gotta get to episode 15, then it gets good?
It is. It basically is. I mean, like, the reason that those people make it that far in those shows is that they are drawn to, like, the baseline premise. Like, when you think of somebody who's like, oh, I watched fucking 40 episodes into D. Greyman, it gets good, and it's like, well, clearly something about D. Greyman must have appealed to you for you to have watched 40 episodes of it, you know, just on a whim. Like, I'm sure you didn't just start it and then go, well, this sucked, but I can't stop now. It's like something appealed to you.
I think some people do that, though, for real.
I don't think those are the kind of people who are like D. Greyman was pretty popular, and it's like a pretty widespread opinion that, like, oh, it gets good at, like, a certain point. It's just like, people like shows about people fighting demons, you know? That's what the show's about. Like, a secret society that fights demons. Just popular in concept, you know? And, like, it wasn't as big as, say, Attack on Titan, which is, like, a magnified by a lot version of that, where, like, the concept is really interesting, so everybody watches it, but the plot immediately gets retarded and never gets better, you know?
The new season was, like, kind of better, but, I mean, it's like fucking Jump the Shark now, but, like, you can kind of appreciate it, the fact that, like, now that there's no sense of, like, cohesion or, like, grounding, it can just do whatever it wants and do some crazy fun shit.
So it's reached that point. It's reached the meme status. Literally the shark jump.
The
supernatural.
Krista's, like, adoptive father or something turned into, like, a huge titan even bigger than the other titans and was, like, dragging around on his belly, and they had to, like, kill him and shit. And it was silly. It was fucking silly.
Yeah. I think that the Souls games, like, they aren't games that anyone, like, I don't think anybody who, like, would pick it up once and immediately be not into it would have been convinced to play the rest of it if it hadn't become, like, such a big cult hit. And, like, because with Demon Souls, like, it was very clear that it was meant to be a really difficult, hardcore game. Like, the people who were excited about it were people who were into the aesthetic and into the, like, the way that they had heard the storytelling is like, and just, like, how fucking hardcore it looked, you know, because it had so many stats and shit in like a really. Dark Souls has like the most active combat in an action RPG, you know, and like to have as deep of action RPG stats as it has, it's like it's borderline a Western RPG while being like also the most fun action RPG you could play. So like that's the core appeal of it, and those are the people who got excited about it first. But like they were all like, oh, this is the best game ever, and I bet I could get my fucking friends who play action games to play it as if they like RPGs, because like
am I fighting the boss right now?
This shit is mega satisfying. But like most of those people start off hating it, and then they just get continually badgered to get good, and then they get frustrated, and they feel like they have to play it out of a sense of obligation, and then they develop a sense of like what's it called?
Stockholm Syndrome.
There you go, my catchphrase.
Oh boy, here's the guy that tried to kill us in that cutscene. I didn't want to fight a boss yet. I'm not prepared.
Holy shit, this boss is fucking cool looking.
This is like a dark version of that Cyclops boss from like Zelda. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was Skyward Sword. Someone. That's the only Zelda game.
I know what you're talking about. That thing is hideous in that game,
yeah. That's the only Zelda game I played, so it must be that one. Played through completely, I mean. Well, I can't even focus on the boss right now. I kind of have some shit to deal with behind me.
Mime Think says, oh yeah, just finished Re-Cutie Honey, and it was pretty good. Great. How would you say it compares to Imaishi's other works?
That beam...
definitely not as deep, but I think
that beam does 2 times my life in damage.
Jesus Christ. Just so much pure fun that it has a different kind of appeal to something like Kill la Kill. I've only seen the first episode, which is the Imaishi episode, and I remember really enjoying it, but I saw it like way the fuck long ago, like before I was even really a fan of him. So I'd have to watch it again to really like assess it in comparison to his other work. In spite of the fact that Imaishi is my favorite anime director, I have not even seen all of his shit yet. Because that's the way I roll. I always leave some mystery for myself. There's very few creators who I've seen all their shit. Because I'm not really as much of like a die-hard fan of individual stuff as I am of like the meta of everything. How do you feel, Thomas? Are there any creators who you're like confident you've seen all their fucking shit? Other than like YouTubers?
No. I should pay more attention to that, but I tend not to.
It's so weird,
especially in like mainstream stuff, just because like it's not. People don't care about that, and oh man, yeah, that's a satisfying move to use.
That's pretty fucking.
It's called
awesome.
The Lumberjack.
That's awesome.
It's kind of great.
That was so like that was the chunkiest. I like have that seared into my memory. That was beautiful. That felt like a Dead Rising hit. Like,
I think the best thing about that was that it let me tank the hit and didn't get interrupted.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah. I put like 8 more points into the sword stat than the axe stat, and I still do way more damage with an axe.
But yeah, like I don't like. It's really weird to not keep up with everything that your favorite creators make because you're guaranteed going to like it. It's like you could watch anything else that you don't have any idea who made it. You have no fucking idea if you're gonna like it before you watch it. Like, there's nothing, no aspect of production is consistent enough to match up to like named creators, like not even studios is too fucking vague. Right. If you're trying to watch everything Madhouse makes, you're going to be let down, you know, like you gotta...
that's another huge problem is people care about the studio and not the people behind it,
right?
Because like obviously not everybody who's at Madhouse is still at Madhouse or anything really.
Yeah, you know? I mean, like there's always going to be consistency, but like it's like in the background. It's like, yeah, you might, if like, it might be that Bones will do every show that this director ever directs, but that doesn't mean that every Bones show is directed by that director, you know? It's like, you gotta be careful with that one. You just gotta look at the director, like the people, and like, it's not that you're always gonna like their whole catalog, but the odds are just so much higher. And especially if it's like one of your favorites, you know? So it's really funny, and I think that the reason I don't complete anybody's catalog is that, like, I want there to always be in the back of my mind something I know is good that I could watch that I haven't seen before. And, like, I rarely bust them out, because I rarely think of them. Like, when I'm bored and I'm looking for something to do, it's like, I don't want it to be a vapid experience. I want it to be special. I want it to be that one day, on, like, a day when I feel really motivated to do something, like, to knock something off my checklist of life, my bucket list of anime or something, I can go, you know what? I'm gonna go buy lunch and set aside an hour today and watch the live action film that Satoshi Kon wrote, you know, just to complete my having seen everything Satoshi Kon has made. And then I will be in a position to do a comprehensive analysis on the career of Satoshi Kon, if I so chose to do so. You know?
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it all, but I'd already be familiar with it. So it'd be a lot easier. Should people worry about their video game consoles eventually dying? Absolutely. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens long before the end of their console lifespan, much of the time.
Yeah, the more complicated consoles get, the more likely it's to happen.
You know what being an adult made me realize? That consoles are fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Like, because consoles were always the most expensive thing I ever had to my name growing up, so I thought of them as a major expense.
I totally agree. Like, having all 3 major consoles as a kid, like, managing to pull that off over the course of 2 years was like I was like a fucking high roller at that point.
When you grow up, you realize that, like, theoretically, if your parents had really understood how important it was to you to have all 3 consoles, they would have absolutely made sure you had it. Because, like, I know people whose parents were gamers and they always have all the fucking consoles. Because if the parents understand the merit of video games, then they will buy them because they're not a major expense. It's only a major expense if you want it and they don't understand it.
Right.
You know? So, like, even in the case of my parents who, you know, were going to give us, like, they were going to buy us the consoles for Christmas or something like that, you know? But, like, if Victor were to tell my dad as a teenager, like, I'm interested in biking with you, my dad would throw down $300 on a bike because he understands the value of a bike. He does not understand the value of a fucking game console because he doesn't play games.
Sure.
So he doesn't understand that you are unlocking, like, thousands of more options at the store when you buy a PS2 in addition to a GameCube, you know? But then you grow up and, like, when I bought a PS4 was, like, the first time it was the first time I ever bought a console just outright with my own money. Because I just was like, oh, $300? Yeah, I can do that on, you know, just a week's salary, you know, like, I didn't save up for it or anything, I just bought it. $300 is not that much when you have, like, a real job, you know?
Yeah. Oh, are you fucking... You had to be gay on me, game. You had to put the gay in games.
I know this has been said before, but you guys should really enable BTTV and FF2 emotes for the stream. They're basically a staple of every successful stream I've seen, and they make a chat look more fun.
I have no idea what that fucking
Never
means.
heard of any of that shit. You're gonna have to write us a whole thing in the Discord about it. You're gonna have to write a detailed explanation of how it's done.
I'm gonna
sent at Tom.
Yeah. I'm gonna add a new like section to the Discord, just being like, teach me Twitch, and you can just like dump tips in there.
That's a great idea.
Because
the only way...
I don't know shit.
The only way... Like, I will only get things done if I somehow magically decide to set, like, a day aside to work on Twitch all day and learn everything. Whereas Tom, you just have to catch him at the right moment. On stream is not the time, because he's not going to remember. But if you post it in the Discord and at him so it gets his attention, he will almost certainly just learn it right then and there and incorporate it as fast as possible.
This guy's a cunt.
Just gotta understand workflow, human resources. I should be an HR manager somewhere. That's my like backup plan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to just like brute force my way into HR at like some company if I really can't succeed in any other way. Because I can literally say that I've done it, like, in my job and defend that.
It's true.
I did. That's like...
We're in the Neo economy.
When I got my job at Target, like, when they interviewed me about my experiences, I literally talked about anime blogging.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I was convincing, because I have the charisma, and I took a public speaking class, so, like, I know how to convince people that what I'm saying sounds impressive, you know? I mean, I honestly didn't, like, need the public speaking class, because it was insanely easy. I literally slept through every class and got straight A's in it. That's the only class I can literally say that about. Like, people always say stuff like that, but, like, you know, they didn't get straight A's while literally sleeping through class. But public speaking is literally just common sense to class.
Yeah.
Did Digi shave? Yeah. It was way the fuck too long.
I don't know, man.
Dude, growing it out fucking sucks. The only reason I do it is that shaving is difficult when it gets that long. And also, I thought that my electric shaver only worked when it was plugged in. I found out that was incorrect. But there is no fucking outlet in the bathroom in this house. It's fucking daft.
That is very odd.
Did you, if people pester you to watch the Promised Neverland anime from this season, remember the manga is infinitely better. I'm sure that's always the case with any Shonen Jump manga adaptation. Unless it's Yu Yu Hakusho or Hunter x Hunter. Either one. I don't think... There's not any others, right? Can you think of any Shonen Jump that have good anime? Ginga Nagara Boshigin...
I kind of like the Hero Aka anime more.
The Hero Aka, of course, and Haikyuu. Fucking... I mean, if you are into Haikyuu or Hero Aka. And if you're into JoJo, then obviously JoJo is your boy. Though there's a lot of manga fans of JoJo who really don't like the anime. Ooh. What video game levels and bosses did you struggle with the most?
Everything I've ever played from any of these kinds of games.
Oh man, the most... There's a lot.
Actually, you know what? That might not even be true. There's a boss in the Ninja Gaiden for Xbox that was just infuriating and takes forever. And then, of course... We gotta give a shout out to the final boss of Shinobi, the 4-hour legend.
Yeah.
Well, I'm dead as fuck.
I'm trying to think of what's the one that, like, I bothered with for the longest. Because, like, typically, if I hit a brick wall of a boss, I just won't play the game anymore. And, like, I'm usually
that way.
There's definitely some Souls bosses and even some Neo bosses that I spent, like, 3 hours on. And, like... I know there's bosses that I probably tried for a few hours and then just gave up and never played the game again. Or like even final bosses where I tried it a few times and it was just so obvious that I was going to have to do like a shit ton of grinding to win that I just stopped, you know? But I think that the longest I spent on any single boss continually trying was, and winning, was the final boss of Sly Cooper 1, which I remember taking me like 4 fucking hours, because it like doubled my playtime or something. Because the game is short as hell, but the final boss is hard as hell. Or maybe the game was only like 4 hours, but he was the last hour. I don't even remember. This is like a memory from when I'm like 14, and I'm like old now.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to where 14 is very vague for me. High school in its entirety is very vague for me.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. It's getting better. But it does make you feel old to realize you don't think about high school anymore, you know. You're just like, because most people are so like stuck in it, and like they still have their friends from high school and shit, so like it takes till they're like mid to late 20s, maybe even never. But like, I have no fucking contacts from high school anymore. They're still on my Facebook, but that's, that's the level of Facebook friend. I don't really intend on coming back to Virginia Beach. Some of them I'm close enough with that I could imagine seeing them more, or, if they somehow came to live out near me or wanted to keep up with me on Facebook. But for the most part, I don't think I'm going to see much of those guys again,
Right. Oh god, I almost ran into the water.
The most oblong scenario I can imagine, which would involve my high school friends, would be if I started blowing up really big on like a mainstream level, and my friend Trevor had graduated college and had nothing to do, and offered to be like a publicist for me and like write my Twitter. I'd hire him to do that. I'm sure he would be disgusted with me for suggesting that he would do that, but I'd like to believe that he would.
The pay was good enough. Anybody will do anything.
Depends on how defensible he thinks I am at that point.
This guy's got a lot of HP. Remember when these guys dropped really fast. Oh, see that? Okay, that's a weird thing I've noticed about this game, is that some attacks, like how like the axe, when you do the heavy attack, it follows. You're not committed to an arc with it. Some enemy attacks do that too, and it's hard to know which ones are which.
It's really fucking comical, by the way, that this literally looks like God of War 1 on the stream.
Does it really?
It's literally
still in.
Yeah, we've still got it in like PlayStation 2 graphics mode. What I'm seeing on the screen is beautiful HD PS4 cleanliness, like a level of fidelity that Dark Souls on the PS3 was not capable of. What I am seeing on screen looks like God of War 1.
Well, that's weird.
And not with component cables.
Oh, well, I'm fucking dead.
Horizon Zero Dawn, probably.
Play Horizon Zero Dawn?
Apparently Jess is streaming like crazy. We like both Neo and the Souls games. Does this mean only Glorious Nippon can do this style of games right?
Oh, I'm fucked. I hate it.
I don't know.
Dude,
there's been a lot of indie developers
Stamina
copying
sucks.
this.
I hate it so much.
There's this new Souls-like game called Ashen that, like, I don't really care for the visual aesthetic of it, but it's getting, like, really high reviews, and apparently it's, like, a more community-based Souls game. There was just I think Joseph Anderson just did, like, a fucking 45-minute video on it. I thought about watching that, because then I want to hear, like, a real Souls fan's opinion. Although he thinks Dark Souls 2 is good, so that's why I've never really been able to take him seriously.
Finally. Oh my god. I didn't get anything good from that. What a waste! There's a dude in there.
This guy says Ashen and Absolver are pretty solid too. I've never heard of Absolver. Phoenix 8619 something says Tom is 100% gonna rage quit on this boss.
You think so? Is it legendarily bad? Is that what I'm in for?
Quokka says this game is great. Its biggest flaw is a million systems and loot. My second playthrough was a no leveling run and it was super fun.
A no leveling run.
Yeah, just pure equipment. That's the other thing about the Souls games and why I don't really get bothered by losing a whole ton of souls, is that like equipment is so much more important. Like just leveling up your sword, and like nothing can take that away from you. Like you just got to find the items. So you can just, there are certain areas in the game where if you know that because like, you know, there's items that are permanently in that spot. So like there's places where you can just run in, grab a Titanite shard and run out, or even die, and you'll still have it on you. So you can just run into areas, grab Titanite, upgrade your sword early into the game, and be overpowered before you even level up, you know? But like that's at a level where you just know the game and you know how to break it, and like nobody's doing that as a first time player, you know? Because there's so much other shit to learn in the first place. But when you've been watching other people play for years, then you're just like, oh, I need to get 3 fucking Titanite shards. Where do I get those from? These enemies drop them at a 50% ratio. Okay, I'll just farm those guys for like 15 minutes, upgrade my sword preposterously high, and the rest of the game will be a cakewalk, you know?
Man, if I gotta break my game to enjoy it, I feel like something's wrong with the game.
You would think that the fact that you could play in a more accessible way would be put more front and center.
Well, I wonder if that was intentional.
Like to have it have a trickle-down effect and just like eventually reach everybody. Get the cult so indoctrinated in the hardness of it that like eventually their new fag friends like me will be able to figure out how to beat it.
Yeah. Fuck, these guys are... Oh, come!
Because, like, I am not known to be good at video games in general. So the fact that I can stomp through those games is indicative that they can be broken with knowledge, you know? It's just a lot to know. But I watched so many playthroughs.
This level's not fun.
Yeah,
all the water enemies, just
having to constantly watch your feet seems obnoxious.
Yeah, like it's... Having to fight in the last level on those narrow platforms was bad, and they decided to make an entire level just that, essentially, with more annoying enemies to fight. So this, what are you doing, buddy? Sometimes I do no damage, sometimes I do a fuck ton of damage. Oh, well, I'm gonna get fucking... And I haven't figured out what the difference is yet. Oh, God. Nightmare. Just gonna keep moving.
Video and audio is out of whack?
What? It's like never happened.
Only one person said it. I feel like it would have been said by a lot of people if it was a problem.
Let me use that in there. Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu!
Shit, that demon respawned? Fuck, I thought he was like one of the ones that didn't.
JC LaCroix says, I hated the first 10 hours of Monster Hunter, but I knew the gameplay had a lot of depth, and I barely scratched the surface.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Bobby Joe Brown says, I watched the first episode of the PCP, and it got me thinking, how important is narrative in games? I personally prefer narrative to get me more invested in the game, though it needs to be done right, like Dark Souls or Bioshock. Oh yeah, that reminds me, y'all should play Bioshock.
I love Bioshock. It's a fun game.
I've never played it.
What? Bioshock 1 was sick.
I always hear that. I only played Infinite, which sucked.
Oh god, Infinite is not even in the same league as the OG Bioshock.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, it's like in line behind like Deus Ex and all that shit for me, so...
You gotta play Deus Ex first. I just want to ignite the other torch, but I can't even get back to there now.
But yeah, like, fucking what the hell? Why are we talking about BioShock? Oh,
Like someone just said it was good. Are you like super duper high right now, dude? You can't.
I'm coming down. I'm also really tired. I've been up like all fucking night.
I only got 4 hours of sleep, so I kind of feel you.
We took like we had taken a short nap so that we could be up for longer, and then we went to take a second short nap, but it didn't work. I couldn't get to sleep even though I was tired, so I just said, fuck it, I guess there's no nap happening. I guess I'm just up. And then I got really, really into researching this rapper, Zillakami, and I forgot that it was I Am Games time. But I have tons of fascinating fucking news on Zillakami.
Why is this level so big? If the boss is like right over there. Unless there's more bosses.
There's probably just more stuff to explore.
I mean, the last level had 2 bosses, so...
Oh.
Oh god, blocking sucks. Blocking is... Every block uses up so much of your stamina. It's
right.
like...
The guy had been asking how important we thought narrative was.
It really depends on the game, I suppose. Like, I've never played Super Mario Brothers and been like, man, I wish there was like a story here. But,
I pretty much like... I don't like most game narratives. If a game has a sincerely great narrative, I might play it for the narrative, but I almost never feel that way. Like, most of the time, if I play a game, it's because I think the mechanics are really great, and I love playing it, you know? Like, some of those have, like, satisfying narratives insofar, like, Devil May Cry, nobody's playing it for the narrative, but you enjoy the narrative because there's scenes where he, like, stands up with a sword in his chest, and it's hilarious and awesome, and aesthetic and cool, and it matches the gameplay. So, like, you feel like you are that guy who did that, you know?
This game could use some of that.
Right.
Every game could use some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good.
It's ludonarrative assonance.
Assonance.
Yeah. There's probably a better word for that. Ludonarrative, ludonarrative harmony. That would be the word. I just wanted it to sound like it was the opposite word of dissonance. Oh, me Manifest subscribed to the tier 2 sub for 7 months in a row.
Holy fuck!
Going through my stream screenshots, I found a screenshot at the time I queued into the illustrious Josh Scorcher in a game of TF2 Legendary. So he got to be... He basically experienced a TF2 analysis live. And by TF2 analysis, I mean the series that is unironically called that, even though it is a weird narrative pony YouTuber story.
It's TF2 Analysis Anarchy we're talking about, right?
Yeah, but they don't call it Analysis Anarchy. It's just called TF2 Analysis and then the title of the episode.
Weird.
Yeah, and if you search TF2 Analysis, that's what you get.
Well, sorry, TF2.
Yeah. Fucking Munchie was mega upset about it.
Oh, look at this. Look at this prime opportunity. Oh.
CF398 says, I've heard almost all of Sweet Trips music. I'm missing some stuff they only released on rare VA compilations. I didn't even know about that shit. I want to hear it. I only have their 3 albums, and they're all good. Their last album's not as good as the other 2, but it's still memorable. What you got there?
What are you fucking doing over there, Mark?
Opening my box.
What's the box?
It's a loot box.
My overpriced super
Oh yeah.
powder.
She got like protein, vitamin, weird powder mix shit.
I saw them on Instagram.
Wait a minute, are you becoming me? I have protein powder all the
Well,
time.
I know.
Do you get some protein powder?
Yeah, but
get
she
some
got some,
creatine?
like, she got this stuff that was on sale, like on a really big sale, but for like an absurdly high price point.
It's a lot of powder.
So in the end, she paid $70 for this powder. It
Are
is
you
a pretty
Hueling? Are you gonna be
sizable
my
box.
Huel buddy now,
No,
Mark?
it's not Huel. It's
Is that what Huel costs?
No.
called Your Super, and I think I paid mainly for packaging and mainly for sleep. Didn't do shit.
When you go through a particular creator/studio/director's work, do you watch their best first or go chronological? EX if you haven't seen Ghibli movies or when you researched Makoto Shinkai. When I did Makoto Shinkai for the video, I watched them in order, but like I had been following his career since the beginning. But like,
Why am I over here?
I think that. I think I just kind of do it in a random order. I don't think I usually think very hard about. Because I don't trust anybody's opinion. Like, I don't trust crowd scores or anything like that. Because I almost always end up liking something other than what's the most popular. And I also don't want to watch them chronologically because sometimes, it depends on like how long the career is. It's like, I just want to watch the ones that catch my attention first. Like, whichever one I think, ooh, I should watch this one. And then I do.
I don't usually watch marathon like creator stuff, so I can't really say I have a method or a preference.
Yeah.
I just watch what's cool. Fuck, dude. This level's a mess.
Thing says, so you prefer the surprise of liking something unknown to the consistency of knowing that you're gonna like it. That's kind of weird, but I get it. That is absolutely the case. Like, I am always most, like, if I already know something is supposed to be something I like, I feel like I can just stash it away. Like, I don't have to watch it immediately because I don't have to check. Because, like, if I already know it's something, like, okay, Anne of Green Gables is a great example. It's a show directed by Isao Takahata. Like, everybody has told me that they think it's, like, everybody who's seen it thinks it's amazing and seems to think I would like it. So, like, obviously I should watch that show. But if that's the case, then there is no rush to try to get into it because it's 50 episodes long. So whenever I happen to have time to watch 50 episodes worth of something that I, like, just because I know it's supposed to be good, I'll do that. However, it's so much easier to convince yourself to watch a show when you're not sure if it's going to be good because there's a chance you're just going to drop it right away and then not have to worry about it ever again. But if you start it up and you like it, then you go, oh shit, I actually found something to watch. I'll burn through it while I'm enthusiastic. Like, I've already started it. I've already watched the first episode, so, like, my foot's already in the door. Now, granted, I still put a lot of shows on hold even after doing that. But that's how I make it through Finish or Fail, is that it's like, every single time it's a surprise if it's good or bad. Because I usually haven't been paying attention to what anyone's saying about it. Because it's not helpful. Please do an analysis on Satoshi Kon. Holy shit. I thought about turning my channel into an Undertaker channel, where I just do research projects on dead creators and just, do their whole oeuvre. And, like, focus on people who have either died recently or are, like literally do it after people die. Because there's a bunch of anime creators who I care about who either have died or are on deathbed, that, like, I could easily do a whole retrospective on because they're dead. Nothing new is going to come out. It's the last time I'll ever have to talk about them, if I do a good enough job.
You might not go.
Me Manifest says, I still need to watch Oshie's live action movies and he's my favorite director. I know, right? Like, when I finally watched Hideaki Anno's live action movies, I was like, these are awesome and I love them. Like, I agree that they might be like 7 or 8 out of 10 movies, whereas his anime is like 10 out of 10 movies. But 7 or 8 out of 10 movies is still really good, compared to most shit that would get those same scores. So, I think it's worth it to check them out, because it might be your thing.
Here, give me a shot.
Do you ever fear that you have kept it on the bucket list for too long? When I finally decided to watch Ava because I felt like I was ready, I loved it. But I know that if I had watched it a year earlier, it would have blown my mind and hit me even harder. That's definitely happened to me. There's been stuff that I legit held off on for so long that by the time I watched it, I did not like it. Or stuff that I so obviously had been like, that I'd been planning to watch, but by some point it was so obvious I wouldn't like it that I eventually took it off of my plan to watch list. Like, I've had a number of experiences like that, being in the anime for so fucking long. You ever have any experiences like that? Like you grow up and you just drop it because you're like, there's no way I'm getting back to this. I've grown out of this taste.
Nothing particularly comes to mind, but I'm sure I've done that. It just seems like something that would just naturally happen.
You could even think of it like bands, you know, if you just were really into it and then you just stopped following it because you're like, I don't really
actually,
care.
I remember when I was, you know, like, end of high school and stuff, I always wanted to get around to reading Bleach, and now I know I would just hate Bleach. So, Bleach.
I feel like, dude, Bleach is such a weird story for me because, like, when it first came out in Shonen Jump, or like when they first started selling the issues in the US, I had read the first couple and I thought it was pretty cool. But then, like, because all the, like, newbie anime fans were super into Bleach, I, like, immediately dismissed it. Like, I just thought, oh, it's just, you know, it's just that trash that, like, the normies like. But then eventually I read all the way up to where it was, which was, like, in the middle of the third major, like, arc. And I fucking loved it. I loved it even past the point when other people had, like, started to have problems with it, you know? Because, like, it holds up better to reading all at once than it does to weekly reading. And, like, it's written that way on purpose. But, like, after hearing what became of it in the time since I stopped reading, I'm like, I don't even want to finish it. Because it sounds like I'll just be miserable,
right.
You know? Like, it sounds like it sincerely went to shit by everyone's metric. So,
oh my god.
Why bother?
Fuck! This guy's taking me to fucking class, dude.
Convex Digiboy says, "Teach me Twitch is an iconic phrase. Shirt it." If you want to pay us for a shirt, we could fucking print one probably. Do we have any printing?
We have no ink and we have no paper. We are out of print supplies.
I'm gonna pretty soon when I get my channel back, I'm gonna try to launch us back into merch.
I think that's a great idea.
Because I think merch is gonna be, if we do it right, it could be more beneficial than even these live streams, and they could benefit one another.
Agreed. Alright. There's too much.
They're not hard to do. It's just like a small investment, basically.
I'll do. Where do I go?
No, thank you. Music says, I feel like you watch 4 episodes of Urusei Yatsura and you kind of get it. The rest of it may as well not exist except that one film. That's exactly why I've only watched like 5 episodes of that show.
Fucking.
Because I just feel like I get it, and I'm like, I don't think I need to see 256 episodes of this. It's pleasant, but when the hell will I have time for this? Digi, I finished 0079 and some time ago, and I'm now halfway through Zeta, and I gotta say, this new type shit is fucking retarded, and Tomino is a hack. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a meme. Wow. Tomino is kind of a hack, depending on how you look at it.
I just fucked up really bad.
He's a crazy genius, he's the epitome of a mad scientist, if we're talking in otaku hero terms. Like, if fucking Char Aznable isn't a mad scientist, then I don't know who is.
Oh shit.
CN398 says Tomino is another level of human being. I agree. Ninja Jeff 50 says, only when I grew up did I realize that I'm actually in an upper middle class family, and my father could have easily bought me all kinds of games and books and stuff, but instead he does something like buying 2 high-end graphics cards for a computer that he is not even going to use to play games.
What do you need the graphics cards for? For work?
He just probably bought them because he wanted to have the most expensive computer.
Everybody who does that should be killed. Sorry, but your dad needs to die. That was like the when I was working at the Apple store, and this girl comes in with a MacBook Pro that she had just bought. She's like, "Can I turn this one and get the one with the bigger GBs?" I'm like, "Bitch, you don't even know what you're talking about."
She said the GBs.
The GBs. I want to get the one with the bigger GBs. That was like those. Those are Apple customers right there.
Oh boy. Boomers. They gotta go.
Dude, that girl was like younger than me at the time.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's no excuse.
Normies.
Yeah.
Hardcore normies.
Big cum right there.
Tom keeps coming back to this game like a battered wife.
Yeah, it is Stockholm Syndrome. Not even a lie.
If have to choose the difficulty for a game, which one do you go with, and how does genre, etc., play into your choice?
I didn't hear the question.
Which difficulty settings do you play, and how does genre factor into that? If it's a game that I know is really hardcore, I'm going to play it on normal. If it's a game that I know is really normcore, I play it on hard.
I just play whatever is fun.
That's exactly the answer to that question.
Like
Devil May Cry, play it on normal, or else it's going to kick your ass. It's not going to be as fun if you're a noob. But if you're playing fucking The Last of Us, like, don't play it on normal because you will literally not have fun. Like, it will not require you to use the mechanics of the game to win. I played that game on hard mode and I beat everyone to death with my fists, like, half the time. Because it was awesome.
I mean, your fists, like, are the optimal way to play that.
Yeah.
You don't want to use the guns. Alright, what's my goal here? Defeat the yokai inhabiting some weeb word and obtain more weeb words. God.
Speaking of water, can you and Tom swim?
Yes.
Absolutely. I had a pool in my backyard for a while. Both an above ground as a kid and a below ground as a young adult. That's a story of upward mobility right there, with a dip in the middle.
Well, you know. I'd like to think that's a story of my life. You know, I'm in the dip period right now. That's what keeps me from killing myself, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that it's on the upswing now. Speaking of upswing, it's so weird. Sometimes I'll do 40 damage, sometimes I'll do 700 damage a hit to these.
Sunax47 says, you don't even need knowledge to break Dark Souls games, you just need to equip spells. But nobody likes playing with spells. I mean, you might get into it later on, but nobody on their first playthrough is going to be like, I'm going to play this whole game using spells.
I don't know, that seems like something I'd want to try and do. Spells.
Well, go for it, and like, you can't do that in Bloodborne, really, but... Well, I mean, you can, but it's not the same. It's not the same as playing Babadook Spook, who, like, literally just stands there and casts the same spell over and over again until the fucking enemy's dead. For Tom, what feelings does he have when he sees someone dab?
Meh.
I thought it said die at first, and that's why I read it so excitedly. Then I realized it said dab at the last second.
It's like it just killed your enthusiasm. It's fine. Whatever. Nate has conditioned me at this point. Oh, this is a bad place to fight. This is a bad place to fight, and I don't like it. Oh, God. Did I want to take a hit?
Did you like Dragon Age Origins and its stories? I never played any of the Dragon Age.
I tried getting into Dragon Age Origins. I didn't like the combat system at all.
Yeah, I saw the way it looked to me from like footage I saw. Did not seem like my type of game. The way that Mass Effect was.
It's the same reason I couldn't get into KOTOR.
Same. KOTOR's battle system was... First of all, KOTOR is ugly as fucking sin on PC, on Steam.
It's ugly. It's ugly on everything.
And also, the combat system is fucking daft.
I got to like the beginning when you're on the ship, and you're running, and you're like, oh god, we gotta fight these, like, I think it was stormtroopers or some shit, and then the game just freezes, and you gotta pick your actions. I'm like, oh, that's how we're gonna do this. You know what game back from that era it was pretty fun though was Jade Empire, because that was like the proto Mass Effect, because they finally went to real-time combat and stuff.
Yeah, like that was I actually played that when it came out because it was highly advertised on G4, and like I got probably like 6 hours into it, and like I dug it, but I wasn't being grabbed by the story as much as I expected to, because like most of the NPC dialogue is pretty fucking vapid.
Yeah, the story's not good, but the gameplay and stuff was relatively fun.
Yeah, I'd probably enjoy it more now than I did back then.
But I mean,
because it just seemed like it was
play
going
Mass
to be
Effect.
endless to me at the time. Yeah, I could also just replay Mass Effect. If I ever wanted to like play more than one fucking BioWare game, though.
Dude, we gotta play Anthem when it comes out.
Unironically, it would be good for the show, I'm sure.
God, I would love to rip into Anthem, but then I'd have to give EA money, and that would make me feel very upset.
It's an investment. Someone said, "Oh shit, now we know the mystery behind all the boxes from the corner. It's all from Mark and his powders." So I didn't realize that there was any speculation about this, but this is just all the boxes that Tom brought his stuff in, basically.
Yeah, mostly.
Like, initially we just had boxes scattered all over the room, but then we just piled them up. It's either that or, like, just big tech boxes. I think maybe Victor's light sets
Oh
in there.
my
That might be
God! That was sick.
I think
Did
it's
you see
mostly
that?
just empty boxes or stuff that Tom's shit came in.
I just did 3,000 damage. Hell the fuck yes. I was hoping this was the way to go, and it's not. So.
Only recently did I learn that Undertaker actually is a word and job, not just the name of a wrestler.
I can't remember if I knew the Undertaker from wrestling or like the actual word first. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was a wee boy.
Same.
Man, I remember playing this like SNES wrestling game at my friend's house where like it was wrestling. You were like in a ring and stuff, but like there were like projectile weapons and stuff, and it was like an arcadey wrestling game, and like I think Undertaker could like shoot ghosts at people or something. It was very weird. More wrestling games should be like that.
What is the best period of anime to watch adaptations? I think the 90s and aughts, because you got many 26-episode complete adaptations with decent animation and it was over. Now light novels never end, and anything before the 90s was between 30 to 50 episodes. Yeah, you're probably right.
Somebody's mad at me. I just can't see them.
Now's probably a better time for, like, shonen adaptations.
A lot of new shonen shows aren't trying to adapt like weekly and just go forever. They're like
Right.
going in chunks, which is
And
nice.
Makes the quality way better.
You can actually
so...
like take your time and make art and not just shit
I mean, like,
things out.
though at the same time, none of those are as good as Yu Yu Hakusho, which is from the 90s, you know?
Well,
and, like, the 90s version of Hunter... Like, even though the 2011 version of Hunter x Hunter is, like, impressive for a shonen, the 1999 version is, like, impressive for a show, you know? Like, visually. Even if, like, it, you know, had more... It wasn't as, like, narratively concise.
I mean, both of those are just really good source material to adapt from, you know?
Right.
So, there's only so much you can shine a turd nowadays. Alright, seriously, where the fuck do I go? Alright, there's a bunch of wood, lumberjack, come on, let's... I'm like stuck over here, dude. I don't know how to get back to like reality. I could level up. I have enough Amarita now, but there's nowhere to fucking go. Holy fuck. That's death. I'm not feeling death. Shit.
I just realized we don't have chat on screen.
God damn it! Why is everything broken? It always sounds like Ultraman when he screams.
What's poppin' with PCP? Also, when is next Comfy Cast? Man, we had recorded a comfy cast around when we first moved in, but we only did like 20 minutes of it, and then we got too tired and went to bed, and then we never did the rest, and I threw it out. But that's not to say that it can never happen again. If it did, it would probably just be on After Dark, because at this point, I don't give a single fuck about anything. I am throwing out any like conceptions that I made up myself to you know, to just do whatever my gut tells me is the right way to go based on what I've seen.
Man, it'd be cool if I was a full-grown adult and I could just like go over this ledge.
That'd be ill, dude. That'd be fucking sick.
Man, it's a shame humans have no ability to do that.
Copex Digiboy asks, for Tom, what feelings does he have when he sees someone die?
Depends if I killed them or not.
Ooh. True. When is the next Game Boy season and is Tom participating? It's never happening. We would just do something different if we had hit-bugged another gaming show. Are we going to get a Kingdom Hearts 3 stream? Are you going to buy it?
Depends on what my money looks like.
Are you going to figure out how to pirate it?
No.
Well, there you go, folks. If you send Tom $60, he
No,
might buy
I've already... I know how that works. You send me $60, I end up negative $80.
Alright, no one person send him $60, but let's get $60 in tier 1 subs on this stream. And we've got 10 so far.
We have a donation thing, right?
We do have donations. I mean, if you wanted everybody to pitch in small donations as opposed to one guy pitching $60,
I would distribute the,
yeah.
That'd be multiple points of failure, which...
Right.
Whoa. Oh, no, it's just a reflection. I thought there was something down there. I seriously don't know where to go. Because I don't know if you were paying attention, but I was like, I climbed up onto the rooftops. Then I dropped down in here to light the next torch, and I'm just kind of stuck in
rooftops
here.
had a really frustrating, like, skybox on it.
Oh. I was paying attention to the fact that, like, there were invisible walls on the side.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Alright. Yeah, that was really dumb. Because I tried to dodge a guy, and I didn't move, and I was like, well, I just ate that one.
Aquaka says, Anthem is not worth getting an Origins account for. No game is.
I got an Origins account for Mass Effect 3 back.
I got one for Sims 4.
Yikes. I'm playing KOTOR right now, Lamau. I want to play all the classic RPGs. Deus Ex was fantastic. Planescape Torment has an incredible story, but shit gameplay. Yeah, that's why I've never played it. Everyone's like, that game seems to have the most lauded narrative of any game amongst hardcore gamers.
What game?
Planescape Torment.
Really?
I would say so. Like, I've never seen a game
it.
be more praised for its story. Mr. Beaton has a video about it, where he's like, this is the greatest game of all time, basically. Because it just has, like, by far the most extensive choice, like, and consequences system ever. And, like, your choices are, like, full paragraphs each. Like, you literally are playing out, like, actual complex conversations with choice and consequence. But the gameplay is
joking.
Like a point and click. Oh, well, there you go. It's one of these guys. Kick his ass. He can't do anything. Oh, he died.
Yeah, if you go from behind, you pull the talisman off, they die instantly. But that was where I needed to go, apparently. La fucking wow.
For both of you, have you ever been forced to stay somewhere even if you didn't want to, like...
I'm forced to stay here because I'm poor!
Like a boring baseball game or a church. Of course. Everybody's had that happen.
I went to church until I was 16 years old. Let me tell you.
That's embarrassing.
It's fucking
When
awful.
did you become an atheist?
Long before I was 16.
How old do you think?
Probably like 12 or 13.
What fucking made you red-pilled?
It just didn't seem to make sense.
Well, that's pretty simple. Didn't even need convincing.
No, I just kind of thought about it. It's like, I don't know. Religion was just so wrong about so many things. Why would it be right about anything?
When did you lose your religion?
I used to voluntarily go to church when I was 12, so I liked a boy who went to my church. And I wanted to stalk him from the pews. I felt really guilty because I committed a lot of sins, and then I turned 13 and became a woman, and I gave 0 fucks about religion anymore. And I wouldn't say I'm atheist, I'm more agnostic.
Yeah, that just means you're atheist, but you won't admit it.
I mean,
Fuck! Are you kidding me?
in God, but
That
I
means you're an
don't-
atheist.
You know.
Agnostic means you're not
I
sure
haven't
if there's a
really- I
God.
haven't really thought enough about, like,
Oh,
what there is.
fuck!
You know.
I mean, I guess if you were to say that you think it's possible we live in a simulation and that the creator of that simulation could be considered God, then you could be considered agnostic.
There might be simulation, and I might have had.
I don't think
interaction
does that
with the
count as
creator.
God?
I don't
It
know.
counts as a all-powerful being.
I thought about how God might just be like some like advanced alien civilization and we were created either by accident or as like a science project and it got out of control. Like it was like this middle school project, like how you raise like sea monkeys or something. It's just like fuck. I just made a little micro universe and they're self-aware now. Oh well. I'm just gonna have to let that lie, I suppose.
Jackie Ohio said, will you make another part of the real YouTube history of Digibro? Yeah, a lot of people seem to want me to do
You
that.
just needed weed, and now we have that.
Yeah, I have weed again, so I can do it. Did I do those high?
Yeah, you were fucking
That
really
makes
high.
sense. Like, I don't think they're particularly interesting, personally. Like, because I feel like I made the point pretty early on, but then I was just going through and, like, I don't really remember, like, what I was, like, what all the stuff I was checking was, and I don't want to have to watch them back, but I might do it.
What?
Just because people
What?
to.
I just
That
lost
fucking-
30,000 on Marito.
That guy did a lot of fucking damage.
He one-hitted me.
Yeah.
And he's just a little fucking bitch.
Well, he had a big
A
axe.
little bitch, and a little bitch.
And a little bitch.
I think I'm done. I think this is the worst game ever made.
I need to figure out how long we've been streaming for.
I'm done.
I haven't been in the background.
I'm done.
Are you switching over to Blab Blue? Or
No, we're gonna play the title screen.
Spyro or DMC?
Oh my fucking god, I hate that game with all of my soul. I don't. It's a 7. It's a 7. It's like I said on Twitter, it's a 7. But when it's like a 9 and then it just gut punches you and you have no choice. You like puke 2 points up. That's what that game is. Like it would be a 9 if it wasn't a cunt. Why are games so bad?
We're too old and jaded. We have too good of taste, and we can't stand everything because everything is too shit. We dedicated ourselves to analysis and found the flaws in everything, and now we can't enjoy anything anymore.
I'm regurgitating that. I'm getting rid of all of that. I'm going back. I'm going back to being stupid. Being stupid is fun.
I'm not being serious. I think that's stuff that people accuse me of in my comment section. I think it's bullshit. Because when I do like something, it is more transcendent. Life just became Dark Souls. And, like, you don't have to... Like, the reason Tom doesn't like the Souls games is because he doesn't want to subject himself to what life already is like. Whereas I am somebody who likes to revel in the reminder of, like, constantly having my worldview reaffirmed and being reminded, like, yeah, that's right. To live is to be punished. To live is to suffer. And Tom's like, I want to pretend that I am not, like, I want to pretend I am a badass. I want to pretend that, like,
I suppose, like, if
everything
you're
is
saying
cool.
to live is to suffer, and your life is making $4,000 a month in your pajamas,
Right.
and then to live as suffers to me is to be in a car and realize that you're probably going to commit suicide in 10 years or less.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
Your
Because-
suffering actually built the suffering something. My suffering is just like,
Yeah.
you're going to die soon. Probably by your own hands.
I don't think you'll die that soon. I think you're fine. Unless you keep playing Neo. Then you might be fucked. Anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half so far.
That's not enough.
The Dark Soul was inside
play
us
Undertale.
all along. You can play Undertale.
I don't
that
have
might get us
Undertale.
more. Oh.
I got it for Ashley, and I installed it on here because we were playing on here for a little bit.
Guilty Gear or Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein's a fun game to look at.
That game is kinda
Shadow
cool.
of Mordor.
I've literally
Spyro.
played maybe 10 minutes of that. Dude, I would love to play Shadow the Hedgehog right now.
Just as the voice inside drives me to run and fight. I know this isn't the same game, but it does.
I am all I am.
Oh my god, I forgot about that song, but that was the song.
That is the song from Shadow.
I am all I am, I am. What a fucking edgy song. It sounds like a fucking Godsmack song or something.
Yeah. God, that thing is fucking great. Ugh.
Go buy Gundam Breaker 3, that's what I've been playing.
Yeah.
Is that good? It looks fucking... Do you know about that game? It's a game where you build your Gundam and fight with it.
Isn't it
It's like Custom Robo with Gundams, I think.
It's like, they're like toys though, right? Because you like run around.
Yeah,
like,
because that's what the Gundam Build Fighters show is like.
I don't. I'd rather be a real Gundam. If I want to play with toys, I can go buy an action figure. I can buy a Gundam Wing action figure model kit available at Toys R Us.
How good is a PS4 for non-games things? I would never
What?
use it for one, so I don't care.
I can't even imagine.
I mean, I actually have used the internet on it before, and like Jesse does a lot of that shit. Like he'll use it just because he has it on all the time. But like, and like, you know, it's easy to use Netflix. You just pull open a fucking tab or whatever.
It's good for net. The problem is like the PS4 interface is kind of sluggish.
Yeah, that's why I would never, because like I have it hooked
The
up
thing
to the
needs a
same
fucking
TV.
SSD. It's a crime they give you
Like,
a hard drive.
I will gladly just press the input button twice on my remote to switch back to the computer and not have to use an app on the
It depends
PS4.
on your setup, because like if you have your computer somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube app not very great. It's good for Netflix. That's really it.
Yeah, doing YouTube searches is a pain in the ass. Even though it's better than it is on any other console, because using the fucking rotoscope is like the best way to do it.
All of the hours of fumbling with the Wiimote. trying
Yeah,
to fucking
fuck
get to play.
that shit. You could look at porn on the Wii.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at more porn on my DS, the 3DS, not my
Whoa.
3DS, my DS XL or whatever.
That's amazing.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know
But
they had a web browser that could access porn on the DS. That is fucking hilarious. That is fucking...
I bought an iPod Touch in college from somebody secondhand on Craigslist, and I opened it up, and the first thing was just like a vagina. The guy just wasn't looking at porn on it and
That
didn't bother
is
to close anything.
fucking incredible.
Yeah. I was just like, how do you not?
He has no shame.
Yeah.
Don't you wish you were like him?
I was dumb. I should have just fucking like hacked his iTunes account because it was
Yeah.
probably still on there.
Really?
I forget.
What do you think of Machinima being killed? I don't really know what the story is behind that, but I think Machinima's channel was taken down. And they had like negative 300 billion fucking views or some shit like that as their daily, like how many views they had today on Social Blade.
Ugh.
But yeah, they're dead, I guess. I don't even know. But it sounds good, because Machinima was like an evil fucking piece of shit, as I understood it.
Damn it! I'm at like the worst part of this game. So probably gotta like slog around prison for a bit.
Can you skip the cutscenes? I should probably switch what game it says we're on.
Gotta break.
Which
this
game
thing.
is this? Which wolf
This
is
is the first one.
the New Order?
Yeah. Forget what to do here. If I watch the cutscene, I'd remember, but I don't. You have to like break this fucking thing somehow, so they gotta distract him so you can switch stickers with this
I
guy.
named the stream Wolfengein.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that WarioWare game that let you make your own games and people did porn. Incredible.
What, really?
This game looks like a Red Faction game with these stream settings. Oh, I guess because it probably still looks like a dick. I used to search boobs on Google in DSi browser.
Hell.
I remember searching boobs on Google. Then I learned you could search that shit on Bing and get way better results! Have you guys ever replaced the Wii/Wii U sensor bar with a fire held about 12 inches away from the Wiimote?
I did try that once.
What
it does
the
work.
fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, how easy is that to...
Because the sensor bar is just infrared light, so if you put...
So you just like put a candle in front of you?
Yeah, the candle will work just as fine.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That seems like... I mean, was it better or worse?
Can I pick that thing up? It's shiny.
Was it better or worse than using the sensor bar?
It was the same.
So...
The sensor bar doesn't plug into the console or anything. It's just there for reference, and it gets power from the back.
What the fuck? So it needs power, but it doesn't communicate with the consoles.
Right.
Well, I hate that fucking cord on that thing.
God, I don't know what
I remember the first thing I searched for when I had access to the internet. Does God exist? Let's say things didn't go well. Eventually, I started reading dojins on there on Pududin, the same DSI. My monitor has burn marks from the candles.
Good.
What the fuck are you doing, Tom?
I don't remember how to solve this.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah,
I hate that quote.
Me too. That's not what insanity is.
No,
insanity is when you're
no one
to
has
God.
ever defined it that way ever, except for in that weird quote. And like, it's really weird that that quote is so popular when it has no colloquial use that way.
It's just normies trying to be deep. My mom would say that to me all the time.
Oh
And I'm
God.
like, why are you saying this to me? Like, you're the fucking crazy one. You think there's fucking recording devices everywhere and shit.
SMT Strange Journey is greater than any persona on God. I'd believe it. A big lighter in one hand, Wiimote in the other. This is better than Neo, just watching Handle Simulator.
I fixed it. I got it.
Oh yeah, Tom, press those buttons, move those cranks. Oh yeah. Digi just doesn't want to be considered insane. I ain't doing this shit. Insanity is being an anime YouTuber. Yes.
That's a better definition.
When a man lies, he murders some part of the world. These are the pale deaths which men miscall their lives. All this I cannot bear to witness any longer. Cannot the kingdom of salvation take me home? Insanity is when you have a week to wait before your album releases and you make a whole other album in that time. I know that feeling. Life just became Dark Souls. Digibrony 2019. Digi, do you have Dark Souls pajama pants? I wish. The definition of insanity is getting between me and my sock sandwiches.
I don't know what that means.
Me neither. I assume he's eating sock sandwiches.
I'm in a concentration camp right now, Lamau.
Any updates on the state of your main channel? Nope.
It's down.
Well, I can go check, I guess. I have to sign in, but I think I have a login on this computer.
A trusted flagger is on the
A
case.
trusted flagger got to me. This PC battery is running low.
You have the cables right over there.
Low.
You're low.
Low. Oh, I'm logged into IM Games, but not into my YouTube. If I log in, I'll give Tom access to all of my channels.
Oh, no.
He'll be able to post propaganda for his Patreon.
I wish that would actually work. I'm being tortured by a Nazi.
Oh god, so many fucking accounts. We've got Market How Do, Tommy Oliver, Tom Oliver, Tom Oliver 3D, The Procrastinators, I Am Games, and my email. But
There's too many.
Not even my like actual account email.
Dude, I just got fucking
But Google
stabbed.
does have it in its member. And it even knows the password, so I guess I was signed in somehow.
Haha, he thought I was dead. He put... Dude, I'm about to get fucking toasted. Look at this shit. I'm gonna toast me with the Jews. It's pretty fucked up.
It says I cannot upload. So no, there's no update on the situation. Tom can't even use my account to post a Patreon video. Because
Dude, look at these robo-dogs, dude. That's some advanced Nazi tech right there. Oh, no, he did.
Is this movie Overlord?
This is the one that I was saying that Overlord was just a ripoff of this game.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys see Overlord?
Yeah, we saw Overlord.
Yeah, it is basically a Wolfenstein movie that got like overhyped by people who never played video games before.
Well,
Because it literally is just like a series of video game cutscenes as a movie. And like, it's no better than just like playing a Call of Duty game. Except that it's even worse because you don't get to play the game. And like, it's competently made, it's fine. If you watched it on TV, you would not be like upset that you wasted your time. But like, it's nothing to praise. And yet, people who've never played video games in their life, like the Red Letter Media guys, were like, oh, this is my favorite movie of fucking decade.
I feel like they didn't say that.
They literally did. Mike literally was like, this is one of my like favorite movies of the decade.
Mike, play Call of Duty, you faggot.
Yeah, he's literally doesn't play any video games.
I can't imagine how free that must be. Just not sinking all your time. Imagine not being games. Think of all the things we could do.
Probably says, wow, this game reminds me of America right now because Drumpf.
Dude, that's the entire marketing campaign for the sequel.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. I made a vlog about it, and people got super pissed.
I remember that.
Had a 50-50 vote down vote consistently.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Okay, my point when I don't know if you remember watching it or anything.
I do. Your point was that like that you were just like disgusted with this marketing practice, right? Like,
the point for me was that Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein, and like all these games, like the original Wolfenstein for PC, the final boss was Hitler's head in a mecha suit. So like it wasn't trying to be politically talking about Nazis. It was like, because back in the 90s, the whole Nazi thing was so decided that they were just like the hee-hee funny, like stereotypical mustache twirling evil people. That's why they were in Indiana Jones and shit.
Right. So
like to take it and try and be like, oh, we're gonna like try and make a political statement out of this seemed misplaced considering this was the Mecha Hitler franchise. I don't know, I fucked up that entire sentence, but... And people were just like, no, dude, it was always political. I'm like, so what was Mecha Hitler referencing? Please enlighten me on the socio-political commentary that was provided. Yeah, he was taking a piss and I killed him. Dude, that's what I want to do to Drumpf.
Someone was like, oh, Digi's always talking about how anime looks good, but then I read Shigehime, and I'm like,
I can't pick
why
up
would I
this
get
knife
an
for some
anime?
reason.
And I looked at it, and it doesn't look good. It looks gross.
What is it?
I
just
don't know.
want to... Look at this knife, dude.
It's like a manga with some kind of weird art, but like not really interesting.
Dude, I don't know. Look at the Nazis. They reinvented
You'd
physics.
probably like it.
That's pretty.
Knife's going crazy. I can't pick it up. I would
This
throw a
reminds
knife.
me of old Halo.
There we go. I got it. God, the throwing knives in this game are very satisfying. They make a nice and everybody they just drop. Dude, we gotta play Halo, the one we were playing, the good one, the remake, but the fan-done remake. That was good.
ODST. No.
It was SPV3, single player version 3. Alright, this way.
Mark, will you give me a drink? Whoa, thank you.
Man, Mark's got some fucking superpowers. Oh, dude, this guy's pissed at me.
I just didn't want to go downstairs and get you a soda. So
I know.
gave me water.
Come on, come
I'm
on.
aware.
Bring it on. Bring it on, bitch. Oh, damn, he got me. He dodged my knife somehow. It went right through him.
Did you talk about our weed voyage today?
Dude, weed has gotten so much better in Massachusetts.
Is it really?
Because, okay, the first time we went was on opening day, and it was a big fucking event, and we were there like an hour and a half early, but we were like first in line.
Yeah, we got to be all over the news.
And we were all over the news, and it was fucking awesome, but it was an hour and 15 minutes away, the place where we bought the weed, and it was really fucking expensive. Which it still is really expensive. It's like a little less at the place that we went to, I think. I haven't actually compared the prices, so I could be wrong. But I thought I did the math, and it came out cheaper.
It did seem less expensive.
Yeah.
Also, it varied by strain instead of just a flat rate.
Right. It wasn't a flat rate, and it was like they had more variety at lower prices and more stuff with higher THC content too. So like, it just all around was like a better experience in terms of what was for sale and for what price, but still not like affordable to like smoke the amount I would like to in my life. But like, nonetheless, they opened up one that was only 55 minutes away, if that, like 53 minutes away, whatever, you know, whatever difference it makes. And that was an easier drive to make than the hour 20-minute one. And they also have they also had no line. Now, partly we did this kind of strategically because they're only open from noon to 5, and we went on a Thursday at like 1:30. Like when we got there, like 1:30, and it was also like the fucking rainiest, windiest day of all time. It has been like, the wind has been fucking insane all day. Our neighbor's trash got blown over into our yard. It's all sprawled out. Fucking
the landlord about it, Lamau.
Yeah, there's just all kinds of trash cans knocked over and shit. It's a mess. The wind is really strong, and also it happens to be trash day, so you know that's a problem. And it was also raining, so we just figured nobody else would be want to go at this particular time, except for people like us. And we were right. There was no line at all. We still had to take a shuttle to the place, but like we just went in and out. The counter was right there. We just immediately bought the weed and left.
Did you didn't even get me a vape cartridge?
I did get a vape cartridge.
Not for me.
No, I didn't think to ask you. I also didn't know it would be so easy, like, because previously, our first trip was the one where we came in the morning. Our second trip, we had to go back to cultivate, and once again had to wait we had to wait longer the second time, even though it was like a month later, because we came a little bit later. We didn't come right when they opened, and like, you know, even more people were coming in, because I think it might have been a weekend, and it was freezing fucking cold. And we had to stand there for like 2 hours almost. So I don't know if you would have wanted to do that. But like, this experience, now that I know that it's like literally just, I mean, it's, you know, hour 45 minutes in the car, 2 hour round trip ultimately, but you're in and out of the place in 15 minutes, and you don't have to fucking stand in a line in the freezing cold.
Much more bearable.
Yeah, it was a much more pleasant experience. It felt like something that I would be willing to do with more frequency if I had more money and the price went down.
Did you get a pen or just a cartridge?
I got, I think just a pen. Like,
but like, you bought the pen and the cartridge. Would it be cheaper to
they
just get a
don't sell them
cartridge?
separately at these places. They just sell single-use disposable ones.
Oh, what?
They don't even have a button on them.
Wait, what? How do you use them?
You just inhale and it just heats itself.
Okay.
Like a force of air heats it.
That's fucking bizarre. And it was $60?
Yeah, those are the original vapes. Like, I have vape cigarettes like that. They can buy for like $10 a pop at the store, but they're just done once you're done with it. But it has like,
how big's the cartridge? Like, how much shit is in it?
I would compare it to a pack of cigarettes in the amount that there is. For those ones. For the weed one, it's debatable, but like, I don't know. It lasted me like a week of pretty fairly persistent smoking when I took it to Rochester with me on holiday.
How convenient. There's just nobody. I keep doing that for some reason. Like an idiot. It's so convenient there's nobody with guns in this park because they would just utterly demolish me. Need la battery. Where's the bead? Jumping out of there, probably a bad idea. Down.
Do you listen to music or podcasts on road trips? Tom?
Usually audiobooks, if I have an audiobook to listen to. Other than that, I'll just listen to music.
I usually listen to music, but sometimes if it's a really long drive, I will listen to some Dick Show. But it doesn't make the drive feel any shorter. Like, it obscures time better, like, because I know the lengths of songs, so, like, I'll know exactly how long I've been driving and, like, measure that against, like, okay, well, how tired do I feel, or, like, how I can constantly be asking myself, how bored am I of this drive at this current moment, 7 minutes later, you know? Whereas in a podcast, you just kind of lose sense of time, but because, like, Dick Show episodes are so rambling and go on for so fucking long, you're just like, man, I have no idea if I've been driving for 1 or 3 hours. Until an episode is over.
Fuck.
Did you do your legs shake more or less when you smoke? Probably equally.
Why didn't I pick up the knife? God. I don't know why that dog won't come over here, but I'm cool with it. Oh, I guess that didn't work. Oh no, it didn't.
Ninja Jeff 50 says, after not having eaten chips for years, now they seem so disgusting and grimy to me. Just seeing Digi munch those Pringles makes me feel discomfort. I felt that way for a while. There was a while I didn't eat chips because I was like, what's the point? They just get stuck in my teeth and piss me off. However, barbecue Pringles and, like, ridged sour cream and onion chips by, like, Wise or whatever, I will fucking go for. Or fucking cheese balls from Utz.
Yeah, the Buffalo Pringles are my fave. Barbecue's very good too, though. God, murking these guys is so satisfying, and I ran out of knives again. Give me the knife.
What would you do in an event where you and other PCP members swapped ownership of your YouTube channels for 24 hours?
I mean, they just have a dead channel, so it sucks to be them.
I mean, just run a bunch of ads from my channel. Why would I not do that?
Oh god, I got caught again. Oh dude, wanna see some people get murdered? Some prisoners get fucking murdered?
See, like, this is the kind of scene that would be in that Overlord movie, except it wouldn't have a fucking mech, and that's why it's not as good.
Those guys are already dead. Yeah, we took control of that mech, dude.
What do you think of Christopher the Kiwi? Never heard of it.
Oh, fucking hell.
Ever had pizza Pringles? I think they're disgusting.
Look at this bitch.
Ugh.
She's got fucking crushed by the robot.
Her face animates like shit.
Well, I mean, she probably can't move it very well.
She looks like a House of the Dead game. Spud says salt and vinegar chips are the best, but I ultimately damage my tongue from eating too much of them. I had like a salt and vinegar phase once as a kid, but I don't know if I would ever choose it today.
Yeah, I had like a very short phase of liking those, but it did not last long. I'm all about the buffalo sauce now for some reason. I never liked it as a kid, but like buffalo Pringles and those buffalo pretzels are fucking.
What do you guys think of the combat system in Secret of Mana? I gotta tell you that everything Tom has ever said about endurance meters, that's how I feel about Secret of Mana.
Is there endurance meters in that? I've never played
The
it.
way that game works is that every time you swipe your sword, a meter fills up in the span of about 2 or 3 seconds, maybe a little longer, up to 100%. And, like, only at 100% does it do full damage. So if you keep swiping repeatedly, you'll do less damage than if you wait a certain amount of time in between strikes. And I don't know why anyone would think that makes it more fun.
That's exactly what I say about endurance meters. I don't know why that's any fun either.
And, like, I don't know if it's just that I haven't played enough of the game to get into more, you know, like, advanced mechanics that would make the game interesting, but, like, I really love games like Soul Blazer or Zelda where you can just tap X as fast as fucking possible and swipe your sword over and over again, because it's mega satisfying. So yeah, literally I feel the same way as you feel about the Souls games, but like for a much more simplistic version of the two. The Kiwi is the autistic Australian guy who has been on the Dick Show. That guy seems like a fucking wreck. Like an absolute fucking wreck. And no one should involve themselves with him at all. How would you rate being fat? Should I give it a try? I've never been like fat.
As someone who has been fat, do not recommend.
Yeah, like, I've never gotten fat enough to where I felt uncomfortable, like, well, I've gotten uncomfortable with how fat I was, but never, like, to a point where it would be difficult to get back, you know? I have pretty good self-control, and I eat really small portions compared to most people.
God, I wish. You're living the dream over there, dude.
You just gotta train yourself, like, the way there was a period where I started eating much larger portions just because, like, after doing it a few times by force, it just gets easier. Like, I think your stomach just gets bigger. But if you just start eating smaller portions all the time and never eat bigger ones, you will always feel full easier. So, it just takes, like, training yourself, I think.
Yeah, also eating slower.
I also eat mega fucking slow, so that also contributes to it. Like, a lot of the times I've already digested so much food by the time I'm done eating that I'm not hungry anymore. And the reason I eat so slow is because I usually eat around other people and I talk through the whole thing. Or I try to do 2 things at once and, like, watch something or do something else. Like, I almost never just wolf down my food because I really like to taste it. Because I feel like that's how I get my money's worth. Real question, has anyone found a mobile game that isn't complete shit?
Yeah.
Booty calls.
I like Terror Battle a lot. I played that a lot back in the day. It's pretty fun. It's by Mistwalker. Guys.
I played so much fucking Don't Touch the White Tile. I probably played more hours of Don't Touch the White Tile than any other game. Because that was my go-to smartphone time waster for like 3 years. And I remember times where I would just sit in Victor's room while he was watching South Park. And I wouldn't even look at the screen once. I would just listen to like whole arcs worth of episodes while just playing Don't Touch the White Tile.
It's the way to be.
Tom was fat? I can't even imagine.
I was 230 pounds at my fattest in high school.
Yeah, I've seen it in his house. He was a thick boy.
Dark times.
He had that like under puff neck, you know.
Yeah, it's not something I look back on fondly.
I mean, I looked like I was that fat when I was that age because I fucking was way shorter than you. So when I was like 186, I looked pretty fat. Even like, I mean, I reached a point where the Wii scale considered me to be like on the border of obese.
He goes, that's obese every time you step on.
Yeah, I don't think I ever actually was, but I was like right under the line. But I've lost like 10 pounds in the last month or something because May is on a diet and therefore I am on a diet because I just eat whatever she cooks for both of us.
I'm officially back on keto as of today.
So. Oh yeah, you're doing it again?
Yeah.
You got dissatisfied after eating 2 pizzas and throwing up?
I just, I don't have self-control, so I have to impose limitations.
That's pretty evident.
Why? How do you think I got to fucking 230 pounds, man?
I don't know. Why? When are you going to throw away those pizza boxes, incidentally?
I was going to, like, the day I got them, but it was snowy and shitty out. I didn't want to go out there. And then the next day it was still snowy. And today I just haven't done it yet.
Except for the rain.
Yeah, well, except for the fact that all the trash cans are knocked over. Was your guy in that truck? Did you just die?
No, that was the other truck. But, like, all of our buddies we just made friends with during all the cutscenes while we were here just died.
Oh. Your guy doesn't seem to give a shit at all.
No. He's a little upset. Oh, you've never played this game, have you? You're not aware of the Super Jews.
What?
You don't know about the Super Jews.
Is this some new type shit?
The conceit of this game is that the Jews actually have crazy advanced technology and it's the only thing that can beat the Nazis. That's why I broke this Jew guy out of jail.
Alright, well we've hit 2 hours and my mouth is dry as fuck. Do you want to stop?
Yeah, we can stop. I think we're good. I don't think anybody gives a shit about this game.
No, and we've made it to a clear lull in the gameplay.
Yeah, this is when we're just gonna have to walk around the camp and talk to people, which is
alright,
lame.
Everybody. We probably won't be playing Neo next week because either Kingdom Hearts 3 will be out by the next show or we'll fucking go get Ratchet Deadlocked over the weekend since it's not snowy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, whichever one we do first, you'll see it. Hopefully I'll get a Neo video out before even that stream, because frankly we spent 3 fucking weeks on it, so I better get something out of it.
Yeah. We got our money's worth at least.
Yeah, I mean it was only like $20. And we got plenty of subscriptions.
Well, be the games you want to see.
I have games.